Everybody, Low-Tier for Life here, bringing guys a brand new deck profile this time around. It is Neo-Spacians, or Neos, whatever the hell you want to call it. I absolutely love this deck. I'm so happy we are finally moving away from the original series in terms of nostalgia support, and Konami's really starting to try and ramp up the GX support, and it looks like we might be heading into 5Ds as well. Kinda wish we would have stuck on GX for a bit longer, but I digress. I'm so excited that we're finally getting new support for Neo-Spacians. For being the main character's deck, it's quite honestly the worst of the main character's decks, you know. Dark Magician is at least a somewhat viable rogue deck. Junk Doppel, Synchrons, whatever you want to call them, used to be really good before Master Rule 4, and honestly the Link 2 does not do much at all, thank you Konami. And then, you know, I could go on, but literally, Neo-Spacians are like the worst. So new support is always much appreciated, and being a big fan of the hero archetype, overall, all 5 or 6 of them, including Neo-Spacians, I really had to jump on this and try it out. I've been doing a lot of testing, doing a lot of duels and everything, and I think I've got a pretty good, concise, consistent build of Neo-Spacians. It's about as good as I could get it by myself. I don't really look at other people's deck profiles too much when I'm making my own, but however, I have looked at a few. So get in some ideas, and of course I want to hear your guys' opinions and ideas and everything, so let's get on with this deck profile. I hope I didn't prattle on there too long. So first and foremost, we got good old elemental hero Prisma. I've seen some people say you only need 2 of them. I've seen some people play 1 for some silly reason. Prisma is by far one of the best heroes for Neo-Spacians overall. Being able to copy the name of any fusion material for a fusion monster by dumping that fusion material monster from your deck to the graveyard is just absolutely amazing. Obviously, mainly until we get a way to spam out Neos, you know, something like an Eternal Soul for Neos would be great. Until we get something like that, this is going to be your easiest way to cheese out Neos. You just send in Neos from your deck to graveyard, he becomes Neos, pretty simple. You know, and then also you can, of course, copy the Neo-Spacians as well. So if you, for some reason, have Neos on field, or you have 2 Prismas, which is entirely doable, you can use both effects, send 1 Neo-Spacian, 1 Neos, and proceed to go into fusions and stuff. Or make a link, you know, whatever happens to be more needed. Speaking of making links and making plays, triple elemental hero Solid Soldier. I'm so happy we didn't have to wait too long to get this. He was a V-Jump promo in Japan, and we got him over here relatively quickly. Much more than you can say for junk collectors. Solid Soldier is pretty cool. Whenever he's a normal summon, you can spell summon any level 4 or lower hero from your hand, and then if he's sent to the graveyard by a spell card effect, you can spell summon any hero monster from your graveyard except the copy of himself in face-up defense position. Really great card overall, makes for a lot of good plays, link plays, fusion plays, whatever, what have you. And of course his effect to summon something from grave is amazing when using him with polymerization or good old mass change. Obviously though, we won't have to worry about the polymerization part, but mass change is a pretty good card to target him with. Speaking of mass change targets, we got triple Shadow Mist. Shadow Mist is a darn good, amazing card, and I would honestly say she's probably better than Stratos. I know I'm gonna get some flack for that, but hey, being harder to negate and getting to search out 2 different cards instead of just any hero monster is really good. Shadow Mist being able to search out any hero monster when she hits the graveyard, or summon or add a mass change card from your deck to your hand whenever she's special summon is really good. Really just absolutely fantastic search card. Unfortunately, you can only use 1 or the other effect, so if you want to search out the mass change, you're gonna have to wait another turn before you can do the searching for a hero monster effect. Moving on, speaking of our last of the E-heroes, really pretty much, elemental hero Neos. Neos is the worst of the boss monsters for main characters. The biggest thing is he has no way to cheese them out. That is the saddest thing. There's no easy way to get him on field, like real easy, you know. Blue Eyes has so many different ways. Dark Magician has like 5, 6 different ways. Odd Eyes is a freaking pendulum monster, so on and so forth, you know. But Neos does not have any super easy way to get him out on the field. from your hand or deck, so there's really no reason to play more than 2. And heck, honestly, I won't even lie, I've been tempted to put him to 1 because in the instances where you do draw him, it's like the worst thing ever. He's stuck in your hand, you can't get him out of your hand. The only time you really can is if you use Miracle Contact to fuse him from hand, which you don't want to do because that uses up more resources than it really should be. And drawing 2 is like the worst thing ever. But at the same time, I feel like if you run less than 2, I'm not going to see him enough to where I want to be able to easily get them out on the field or get them in the graveyard, you know, because then, oh, you draw to 1 and you have Prisma, so you're kind of screwed. So I feel like 2 is safer than 1, 3 is too much, so 2 is the way to go, I feel. Moving on to the Neo-Spacians themselves, I got 2 Dark Panther. Dark Panther is pretty good, he can copy the effect of any monster on the field. Pretty cool, not the best thing in the world. It used to be a lot better when Rescue Cat was like a thing. Still pretty good though. Not the best of the Neo-Spacians though. Personally, I still think Grand Mole is the best. Grand Mole being just absolutely amazing. Spot removal. Used to be a lot better before, you know, like you could spam out stuff from the action. I go a lot faster. I mean slower, but now it's so fast it's kind of ridiculous. 1-for-1 spot removals, it's not as good as it used to be. He's still pretty good though. I mean, it's not saying much in terms of the Neo-Spacians, but I digress. Moving on, got 1 Air Hummingbird. Air Hummingbird's pretty cool. He's the best of the bad ones, if that makes sense. I mean, they're all bad, but like he's the best of the really bad ones. In the sense that he got power boosted from freaking from the time roll update. So thanks to his effect, you can gain 500 life points for every card in your opponent's hand. If time is called and your opponent has a crap ton of cards in hand, or heck, even just a few to make a difference to where you get up to higher than your opponent's life points, you can just normal summon Hummingbird and gain a buttload of life points, and then hey, you won thanks to crappy time rolls. It's a bit of a cheesy thing, but I do like it. He's also got arguably the best fusion pre-Nebula Neos, so that's another really good thing to point out. Then we got Aquadolphin, who's become a bit more of a known factor in the game lately, thanks to Goki using him. Aquadolphin's pretty cool for getting rid of your opponent's hand traps and such. But however, that's about all he's good for. He's got one of the better of the triple contact fusions, but other than that, his actual fusion's not really worth it. If there was a way to search out next and summon out Marine Dolphin and then make Marine Neos, I'd feel more confident in doing that. But there's no way to search out next, so you got a hard draw into it, which is really obnoxious. For those who don't know, Marine Dolphin's the only Neos fusion monster who is a Neo-Spacian fusion monster, contact fusion, who does not go back into the extra deck. But you got to go through a hoop and a hurdle to summon him, so it's like, yeah, I'd rather just summon Aquadolphin or make Storm Neos. Moving on, we got good old Neo-Spacian Glow Moss, the worst of the Neo-Spacians by far. I've been tempted to cut him and play like a second Hummingbird or a second Aquadolphin or something, but I figured, hey, it's best to have as many names as possible. So just 1. I mean, you don't ever want to summon him, so just, you know, he's just kind of there as a name. And then we got Neo-Spacian Flare Scarab. Funnily enough, this guy's actually kind of useful in certain matchups. He gains 400 attack for every spell and trap card your opponent controls, and if you're going against Altergeist or Paleo, he gets up to like freaking 20-something hundred. It's really stupid. I was doing against an Altergeist player, he had 5 back row and a Totally Awesome on field. Just normal summon Flare Scarab and try and beat over to Totally Awesome. It's kind of funny. But I digress. He's not good, he's the second worst. Moving on, we got finally the last monster, Elemental Hero Honest Neos. Not the Neos retrain we wanted or needed or deserved, but hey, he's good enough to where he's arguably one of the best Isolde targets, because then you get to add him off of Isolde, and then you can defend your monsters during your opponent's turn. However, I feel like he's only really good as a one-of. Any more than that, and you run the risk of bricking with him, which you don't want to do. Definitely not in this deck, at least. Like, maybe in another Elemental Hero deck or something, he'd be a lot better as like a, I don't know, 2-of or something, but not in this deck. Moving on. We got good old triple E-Call for the beginning of our spells. E-Call is pretty cool. You get to search out any hero monster from your deck to your hand. I mean, it kind of goes without saying. It's triple Rhoda. Then also for draw power, we got arguably one of the best draw cards in the game. Locked in one of the worst archetypes in the game. Convert Contact. If you control no monsters, you can send one Neo-Spacian from your hand and one from your deck to draw 2 cards. It literally gets 3 cards out of your deck, which is really freaking good. Really great card. The only downside is that you have to control no monsters, so it's generally got to be like the first thing you do right away. It's not the hardest thing in the world, and hey, it's not once per turn. And so if you draw into multiples or you draw into one and a Neo-Spacian off of activating one previously, you can potentially get 6 cards out of your deck and draw, you know, just so much. It's really stupid. I love it. And it combos very well with the arguably best card in the deck after freaking Cybernetic Horizon. Contact Gate. You banish 2 Neo-Spacians with different names from your graveyard. Special summon 2 Neo-Spacians with different names from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You cannot summon monsters from the extra deck except for fusion monsters for the rest of the turn. And if a Neos fusion monster returns to the extra deck through its own effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon any of your banished Neo-Spacians. You can only do the second effect once per turn, and it itself is hard once per turn if my memory is correct. Yeah, you can only activate one of it per turn, and of course the graveyard effect is a once per turn as well. So you can't just like spam out the board and then, you know, do a bunch of shenanigans. My only real issue with this card is that you can't, you get locked into fusions for the rest of the turn. Now that being said, it is for the rest of the turn, so if you make Isolde first and then use Contact Gate, it makes things a whole lot easier. Great card overall, does not negate the effects or anything, and it summons the Neo-Spacians from anywhere, so you don't need to run a super huge amount of them, which is just absolutely wonderful. Moving on, we got Triple Miracle Contact. This card is Miracle Fusion for the Neos Fusions. You return the fusion materials listed on the Neos Fusions from your hand, field, or graveyard back into the deck, and then special summon that Neos Fusion from your extra deck. This is not a fusion summon. It just special summons it ignoring summoning conditions. So that's really important to remember because, believe it or not, but the Neos Fusions are the only elemental hero fusions that can be summoned from the graveyard. But however, this locks you out of that, but you get your fusion monster out super easy, does not negate its effects or anything, and it just is really, really great and combos really well with all of the oh so wonderful Neos fusions. Because okay, well, not all of them have good effects, but a good number of them do have good effects. Moving on to the 2-Os, we got Double Miracle Fusion. Really good card for just fusion summoning. Since Contact Gate locks us into fusion summoning, I figure it's best to kind of try and focus on the fusion aspect. You know, make Isolde, activate Miracle Contact, or make one of your dudes, and then proceed to make fusion off of Miracle Fusion. One of the best things that I found that you can do for going for game and stuff and big damage is to make Isolde, search off something, Miracle Contact for, or just make freaking Nebula Neos, get to draw a bunch, negate Nebula Neos' effect so you don't have to worry about him nuking your own board. Then activate Miracle Fusion for good old Elemental Hero to Shining or something like that to try and go for game, because that's a lot of damage. But there's other ways to go about that. Obviously, you don't always need to go into Nebula Neos if you don't have to, or if he's not the most optimal play. So it's just something really kind of cool. Next up, got 2 Hero Lives. I've thought about playing 3 of it, but I'm not a big fan of paying half my life points for one level 4 lower monster, especially with Ash Blossom running around. If I don't have a way to stop Ash Blossom, I don't want to risk the Hero Lives play. That's why you signed Called by the Graves. Double Mass Change, you know, kind of goes without saying, you know, just summon Dark Law and just laugh as your opponent can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. 1 Rhoda for being able to search out any of your dudes. Heck, you can even search out Neo-Spacian Aquadolphin, which does come up every once in a while if you draw a Convert Contact but don't draw a Neo-Spacian. 1 Soul Charge for being able to just summon everything back and go for big damage, or well, just spamming their effects and stuff. You can't attack the turn you use it, so just setting up a big board. And then 1 Oversoul, which can summon any of your normal elemental hero monsters from your graveyard. Obviously, the only one we're playing is good old Neos, but he's a 2500 beater, so Oversoul is just another combo extender for either making our fusions or for going for even more damage and going for that OTK. Especially combos well with the Air Neos OTK, which the easiest way to go about doing that is a Hero Lives for Prisma effect, and then just going on from there, and hopefully have an Oversoul to, well, be able to summon out the Neos from graveyard. Moving on to the extra. First and foremost, for the links, we got Double Isolde. I mean, she's like the best one in the deck. best generic one for warriors at least, just being able to search out any of your warriors whenever she's link summoned. She of course has that other effect which I can't really make use of, and I don't want to even try to go that route because you'd have to play a lot of equip spells, and that's just not worth it to me. Double Dark Law, kind of goes without saying, he's the best masked hero fusion. Stupid card, love him. One masked hero Diane. Diane is really, really good. Your best target with Solid Man, well, your only target with Solid Man. For those who don't know, what Diane does is when she runs over a monster in battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon any level 4 or lower hero from your deck in face-up defense position or face-up attack position. So the big thing is you mass change your Solid Soldier. Solid Soldier's effect activates summoning a dude from graveyard, run over something with Diane, Diane effect summon something else, and then hopefully go for a game. If not, main phase 2, make a Zold using Diane and the monster you summoned or the monster that you have in defense, depending on whatever you need. Like, you know, it's really cool, makes for great combos and stuff. Moving on, one elemental hero Absolute Zero, because this card is still stupid. Oh, I got Kaiju. Okay, nuke your board. Oh, I got linked away for a link summon. Oh, nuke your board. You know, just stupid fun stuff. I love it. One elemental hero The Shining, just for big damage and recursion from Banish Zone. One elemental hero Nova Master for extra draw power. One elemental hero, Great Tornado, because hey, having all of your opponents attack monsters into like half, and oh, they have a whole bunch of nightmares that have already low attack and just permanently halves them even more, go for big damage. One elemental hero, Dark Neos, pretty nice effect for him. He can negate any monster effect once per turn, provided he's not already negating a monster effect, so it's not like the greatest thing in the world, but being able to negate any monster effect is pretty nice, at least for a turn. One Grand Neos for just being able to bounce something. He's literally Grand Mole effect, but he doesn't have to attack to do it, so you can bounce any face-up monster your opponent controls, and heck, I don't even think it has to be face-up, right? Maybe you can return one monster your opponent controls. It's non-targeting too, which is just great. I love it. One Air Neos for going for that OTK with a hero lives in Prisma and all that fun stuff. He gains attack equal to the difference between your life and your opponent's if your life is lower. Absolutely wonderful card. One elemental hero Magma Neos. He gains 400 attack for every card on the field, and also whenever he returns to the extra deck during the end phase, he returns all cards on the field to the hand. Really, really good a card just for going for that big damage, trying to go for game. You know, I mean, I keep saying big damage, but that's literally all that Neo-Spacians have going for them. Then we also got one Storm Neos. Storm Neos is pretty cool too. Once returning, you can destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. We don't play any traps, so we're going to mostly just be nuking our opponent's back row with that. And then whenever he returns to the extra deck during the end phase, he shuffles all cards back into the deck, which is really, really stupid. And then of course we have the best of the bunch, Elemental Hero Nebula Neos. Whenever he's fusion summoned, well, not fusion summoned, but spell summoned from the extra deck, you get to draw cards equal to the number of cards your opponent controls, then negate a card effect on the field until the end of the turn. And then during the end phase, he returns to the extra deck and banishes all cards face down that are currently on the field. Really, really stupid card overall. Very, very powerful. Lets you go plus big time, especially if your opponent has a lot of cards on board. He is a big risk though, because if you do go through all the resources to make him and your opponent has something to stop it, or if your opponent doesn't have very many cards at all on the field, he's not really too much worth it. Like if your opponent only has like 1 or 2 cards, he's not generally worth it because you don't get to actually get any benefit off of that, because you do have to use 3 monsters to summon him. But however, if your opponent has 4 or more, he is well worth more to make it, especially if you know your opponent doesn't have something to stop him, like Effect Failure or something silly like that. So that is Neo-Spacians. I guess it's more of an elemental hero deck, but the Neo-Spacians were always designed from the ground up to be support for the elemental hero archetype and not an archetype themselves. That's why they don't have any consistency with each other outside of spells and traps. It's really annoying that they did that, but I do see the idea behind it. I just wish it was executed a bit better. But what do you guys think of this build? I do want to hear your guys' ideas, recommendations, and concerns. Be on the lookout for a duel video coming out hopefully later later this week. I wanted to initially put it at the end of this video, but all my duels on YgoPro were corrupted because they updated YgoPro, which is really annoying, so I gotta go and get a bunch of more duels with this deck again. So guys, what do you guys think? Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and see you all later. Peace out and goodbye.